Welcome back to Get a Grip on Lighting. You just got the core group. That's Greg and Michael here today. Michael Colligan and Craig Ehrich. We're going to have a little chat about selling lighting in 2025. So you're all excited. You're going to get all the inside tips from the sales master himself, the great elephant seal, Greg Ehrich. Before we get into that,
Yeah.
before we get into that, we got to go to halcolighting.com. That's HALCOLIGHTING.com. Welcome back into Nailed. First of all, Halco, it's good to have them back in the fold.
Absolutely.
They're a key company for Nailed. Lots of lighting distributors use Halco every day. Greg, tell us a little bit about halcolighting.com.
Yeah, well, one thing, first of all, is their portal is amazing. So check out their portal, but I also love their fixture selection and their
Yeah.
retrofit. So here's what we've got is a center basket troffer and retrofit kit, but it's different from a lot of the others. It's 1x4, 2x2, 2x4, field selectable in terms of Kelvin temp. It's got the dimming options that you've got, but what I like are these end caps within the troffer itself or in the center basket piece at the end that you can add a sensor easily down the
Ooh.
road or right away. A lot of the other troffer kits and fixtures, you have to punch a knockout in to get the sensor in, and it's a pain to do in the field. This is making it somewhat future-proof, right? So you can add to it in the future. Powder-coated steel fixture, frosted lens, great fixture, looks awesome. All the options covered. If you need a 2x4, 2x2, 1x4, which everybody does, and you want a kit or a fixture, they've got them. Elko.
Go to halcolighting.com. That's HALCOLIGHTING.com. Of course, members of the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors, where all the top Gs hang out and talk about lighting. We got a convention coming up September 22nd to 24th, Greg.
That's right.
Beautiful St. Paul, Minnesota. Yeah. And we have, I don't know, this will be out before that probably. We got the controls course at Lightivation. So it's all wrapped up now. I don't think you can join anymore. But yeah, we're training people on a certification for lighting controls. You get your hands on the Nailed is moving so much faster than, I don't know, the Nailed doesn't have competition, but we move really fast, Greg.
Yeah, then someone equivalent to us in another industry that does something like us, we move. That's it.
Yeah,
We make
we get stuff
decisions and
done.
move.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we make things happen. We get stuff done. I think if you're a lighting distributor and you got light bulbs in a warehouse, this is your organization. This is your nonprofit association. Go to naild.org. What's happening, Greg Ehrich?
hey, here we're talking sales today, huh? I'm the guest, or you're the guest, or we're the guest.
I'm talking about sort of the post-rebate apocalypse, right?
Yes,
So
yep,
that's the post-rebate apocalypse. It's like a zombie apocalypse out there, dude, in Ontario
sure.
right now.
Yeah,
Everybody's down. I mean, there's some people. There's always winners and losers, I guess, but there's a lot of things I haven't seen before. And for example, this has happened 2 or 3, 4 times in the last month, where key vendor members, key distributor, key suppliers of mine have approached me saying, "I have a deal. I'm giving it to you, and you can put 5% on it. So I'm doing you a huge favor." And I reject those deals. I don't like that kind of
this is
stuff.
you're saying the manufacturer direct.
Yeah, yeah. They're
How
set.
are they getting these deals?
Well, and I'm having questions from manufacturers that I've never had before, like, what's the job name? Now I know the job name types that are out there, right? But you don't ask me what the job name is, pal. You understand what
Atlas.
I mean? It's my job. You don't worry about it. What's the price? Because I got to go
Yeah,
somewhere else. So I'm getting a lot of this now, and I think because of the post-rebate zombie apocalypse here in Ontario, I think things are getting nasty, and a lot of people are leaving lighting. But I see an opportunity, Greg.
yeah.
I
Because
see an
why?
opportunity.
Every building needs lighting still, right?
Hmm.
I mean, even if it's been changed, there's still something. What is the opportunity you're seeing specifically?
So we talk about circular economy a lot. And I don't want to have a big conversation about circular economy. We just did a podcast a couple weeks ago, very popular, called the OG. Lighting is the OG of right to repair originally, right? We started
Mhm.
that right to repair. This industry started it and then abandoned it somewhere around 2013, 14. But actually, within that subset of unrepairable fixtures, presents a huge opportunity for lighting distributors.
Because you can't repair them.
Or because you can, and other people don't know how to do it.
True. There are
Okay.
tricks. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And I think lighting distribution is going back to its roots in that, you sell it to contractors, you sell it to commercial properties, and you're selling them components again. But these
Mhm.
components are now different. They're not, fluorescent tubes or LED tubes, but they're also components. Sometimes it's a whole fixture, but other times it's not. Sometimes it's a driver. Sometimes it's a retrofit kit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a grouping of different raw materials together: socket, lamp, piece of metal, connector, and these types of things that I'm
Lens.
seeing. Yeah,
Yeah.
lenses. Yeah, I'm seeing as the way distribution used to be. And
Sure.
prior to that, except that nobody else can supply these components, only me.
You're able to find. You have all the resources to get them and know what to look for, right?
That's right. Like I know where to find this.
Yeah.
I know where to find this stuff. And we also, and you probably have you're not as good as me at this, but I know how to design retrofit kits.
Right. You come up with a custom solution for a certain application and put something together. We've done a few of those over the years, but yeah, I don't do a lot with that.
But I'm
Um,
I'm starting to see that these components are not custom. They're
Not
actually
so custom.
they're not so custom. They're you can make them so that they pretty much work in any fixture body if that fixture is retrofittable.
Sure.
And I see that those components, and that is a major seam that's opening up for distributors. People that want to have stuff in stock, but also want to sell high value solutions to clients. So those are two different things, right? Not every
Yeah.
distributor wants to sell the high value solution. It's just not their game. But I think that's your game. I think that's my game. I
Yeah.
think a lot of members of
Yep.
Nailed have that game.
hmm No, you're right, Ben. I think you bring up something interesting. Is I just had an email conversation, if that's what you call it, exchange with a customer today, who had a bunch of strip fixtures, purpose-built LED strips that they bought over the years, and you know, a big chunk maybe 10 years ago, and they started to have a few that are burned out here and there. And he's actually stocking, 20 drivers at a time, and he understands that and knows that, and it's just like a ballast now. Although drivers get a little funky when you have, you have to program them and do all that. This happens to be a selectable, color select, wattage select strip. So that driver helps you from that standpoint. But it is a different model, like something you think, okay, your fixture's out. Oh no, I need to get you a new fixture, but we can't get a rebate, but we can't do that. No, it's not working. Put a driver in and let's get it working again. And he's finding that that's happening most often with these fixtures. Is he doesn't need the whole fixture. He doesn't want to go through the cost of replacing it. He can put a new driver in and it works. Does it work as good as it used to? I don't know. He doesn't know, but it works. You know, um, we haven't measured it to see what the light loss is, but it's a solution to get a fix quickly, and similarly to when we used to do ballast. The unfortunate part now is the LED strip you can't really replace. I mean, you can. There are some options, but that opens up a whole nother can of worms. And by the time you get to that, the LED you probably got to go fixture. But to your point, he's ordering drivers, and he's ordering whatever 24 at a time, and they're $50 a piece or whatever they are. That's a good sale.
You know what though? What we do is so like you're talking US dollars, I sell in Canadian dollars, but whatever. So
Yeah,
we tell the customer that it's, we look at a driver, we say, look, there's going to be a fee to find this driver for you.
it's good move.
Yeah, and likely if it's available, you're in the range of 85 to $150 per driver. How does that feel to you?
Unless
And
you've sold the fixture. You're saying this is a case where you haven't sold the fixture. You have no
yeah,
clue
somebody's
what
looking
it
for a
is.
driver, right? They're looking for this driver.
Totally
You look at this
acceptable.
stuff and it's like, oh my God. Like that's not
Yes.
available, buddy. That's not made by Advance. There's no resupply of that. That's straight in from the boat in China, and it's not available in Canada or in the
Yep.
United States. And as such, if it is in the United States, well, it's going to be very expensive to bring it across the border now.
Totally.
Um, so you're looking at that price. So we get rid of a lot of driver people and move them right into new fixture right away. If the driver is
Mhm.
the issue and it's not a standard driver, we can get a lot of drivers, but not, I would say it's 50-50 is what I would say.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
that's the first thing we look at. After that, we're looking at the size of the fixture body and asking ourselves, is this retrofittable? And
Mhm.
that's a whole new category that other people haven't considered yet. And a lot of these bodies are retrofittable. There actually is, you can get a lamp into some of them. And that I think I think that the future of lighting distribution is a combination of selling new fixtures and also offering retrofit solutions to people.
And you're saying you can get a lamp in them. You're talking you're going to take a purpose-built fixture and make it a lamp fixture?
Oh
You
yeah.
going that wild?
Oh yeah.
Sockets?
Oh yeah.
Getting nasty?
Oh, not nasty, beautiful, beautiful retrofit
Yeah, yeah.
kits. Oh
Well, tell me
yeah.
an example of one you did recently.
So there was
Like,
an LED fixture in a parking garage. Okay, now this is a super weird
yeah,
one. So building built 2017, maybe. Okay.
okay,
So in the main aisle of this parking garage, I can't remember if it was 35 or 40. It was a two-level, smaller garage. Two levels, maybe 40 cars on each level. Okay, something like
hmm,
that. And they had above the parking spots was a vapor tight with two fluorescent tubes and an external sensor,
okay.
occupancy sensor, which turned off those lights when nobody was there. Those had been disconnected and they had run them line voltage. And then down the middle aisles was a purpose-built LED light fixture that was going to last forever, I guess, if you didn't turn it off and on.
Hmm.
So there was no sensor on it, but it was 44 inches long.
Yeah, perfect.
Right, so we
Yeah.
put in a 3-foot T5 HO LED lamp with a socket kit and a metal reflector that we custom built, and it and
With
the
enough
elect
depth and everything
yeah
in the lens.
yeah and the Electrical Safety Authority in Ontario gave us a field inspection on it, and
Oh,
Bob's your uncle. Now it's a lamp based fixture, and then we retrofitted all the other ones to bypass LED T8. And we
hmm.
reconnected the sensors and put the timing at 15 minutes and not 1 minute. So lights were not going off everywhere. This is an amazing project for somebody, dude. No, but
Oh,
we
yeah.
saved them thousands of dollars, dude.
And you probably were able to make good margin on it too,
Yeah,
because
we
it's
did
not
good.
all that much that goes into it.
Well,
Yeah.
we're not in the
I mean,
business
other
of,
than
swinging, making a quick buck or whatever.
Mhm.
We offer value to our clients. And so it was much lower cost solution. And now they can change a light bulb, right? Those fixtures are permanently repairable now.
Yeah.
And the other thing was 44 inches. They had on the ceiling, that foam that they spray on the ceiling of the garage as a fire retardant foam.
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you do then? You have to have complete unfettered foam. It can't have any gaps in it. That's how the law works, right?
Yeah.
And so either you're scraping foam off the ceiling to get a bigger fixture in, or you put a smaller fixture and the spray foam guy has to come back and spray foam around the fixture. This is like
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah. Right.
because
Yeah.
and the
No.
building's what, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 years old.
Yep.
So
No, I
yeah,
see it. That's a good practical example. Like I've done a fair amount of decorative fixtures. Like a purpose-built decorative is maybe nothing worse. Um, but especially like a wall sconce, and everybody's wall sconce is purpose-built. There's a lot of sockets that you can get in there and
oh yeah, especially
add
a
it and make it a
CFL
medium
socket,
base. And,
CFL
oh
socket,
yeah,
run at line voltage,
yeah.
and
Well, CFL, but if I'm talking a purpose-built LED, it's got a chipboard smashed on it
yeah, you
right
take
now.
that out and you gut it, and you can put a new CFL socket in a lot of those, and put one of those really
Or
thin CFL LED
medium
line voltage.
or a medium base socket. Yeah, if it's 120 volt, you
Medium
can
is
do
a
that.
little bit tougher. It's a little bit bigger.
You get that
Yeah,
little L bracket there. You can keep it
yeah,
real tight
I
to
know,
there.
I know, real tight.
A
Yeah,
T10 or whatever, just
yeah,
a tubular.
beautiful.
Yes.
We use these
Yeah.
GE Bright Sticks. You know those?
Yeah, breadsticks. Yep.
Oh, buddy,
Yeah.
those are great, man.
Yep. Yep.
And so yeah, I don't want to get into a circular economy conversation again, but yeah, like I think it's time for distributors to start thinking about, what kind of components repair these things actually. Can we supply those? Because that's what we used to do as lighting distributors.
Used to use your brain. Used to be creative. Used to think things through instead of it's 2x4. It's a flat panel. It's this. It's that. Let's go. Think about it a little bit. Make some changes.
Yeah, and you just have to realize that not everything is retrofittable. That's true, right?
Yeah.
But you
Yep.
shouldn't. We shouldn't as lighting distributors. I'm not talking about contractors or designers or agents. They're always thinking new fixture, and that's never going to change.
Mhm.
But lighting distributors, it's our responsibility to ask ourselves, hey, hang on a second here. Can this fixture, does it have components that can be repaired? Drivers. A lot of the LEDs are glued on, very difficult to get off,
Yep.
right? But yeah, can you start thinking, start using your head? What kind of components can you stock supply to companies? And so I see a real opportunity there, Greg, in terms of that. We want you to go to halcolighting.com, right, Greg? Halco,
That's right.
HALCO lighting.com.
And hey, although these kits that we're talking about in fixtures are purpose built, I love the kit because a kit is to me is almost like a bulb.
Mm,
It's just a swinging door that when that goes out, sure you can replace the driver, or you can just put a new door on. Super easy
yeah.
install. It's kind of the in between a fixture and a bulb, but it's very nice. And then what they've got with that capability to add a sensor down the line, easily pop the end cap, put one in. It doesn't take an electrician to wire these either. You can plug this stuff right in or wire it real quick with low voltage. So great option from Helco.
And plus, when you put one of those kits on, you refresh the look of the fixture too. That's another
Oh,
advantage to the kits, that you can refresh that look, press reset on it. And the most important thing is that we're not ripping everything out of the ceiling. I think that's when things get really nasty for clients, is when you're pulling out the 2x4. So go to halcolighting.com. They got a huge line of products there. If you're a lighting distributor, they're a great manufacturer vendor to have on your line card. And of course, if you have light bulbs in a warehouse, Nailed is your association. The OGs and the top G's and all the other G's are all in Nailed. Why do I? Because I
oh,
know them. They're my friends, and they're Greg's friends, and they can be your friends too. I'm not guaranteeing we're going to be friends with you, but there's a good chance, actually, that people join and become buddies with them, man. This not happen all the
oh,
time.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, bunch of wild men that sell lighting, and ladies too, wild ladies too in lighting. There's some ladies there too. So check out naild.org. Thank you for listening to Get a Grip on Lighting.